we're hiring just all the time, and I need to be careful really because of obviously increasing overheads rapidly, but our sales and our revenues are increasing rapidly. But it's just that balance of being careful. When you're scaling, it can ebb and flow a little bit, and obviously we're bringing up overheads, forward funding overheads, so that we don't hit a serious bottleneck at any point. But I'm managing that. I'm taking a couple risks there, like you have to. If you want to scale, I feel like the safer way to do it is to think of the strategic hires, start to warm people up, and at least get them trained up and bring them in at the crucial time before it starts to create issues. Because I've done it before where we stayed too lean for too long, and then you have these bottlenecks, and then you can have clients that start getting disappointed because you're not resourcing things well enough. So trying to preempt that just means we're taking slight risks on cash flow. We're in a good position at the moment, but obviously that requires each month to remain robust. So that's the risk, but I'm very confident in what we have to offer. It's only getting more and more busy for us literally every week. And an interesting anecdote on hiring. So went to market and went to find a sales rep and asked around and obviously did all that stuff, but needed to find the right person, sort of at thinking initially at sort of an entry level, and we'll train them up to not really be in sales, but more of a consultant. We don't really sell. We kind of we have clients will speak to us. They've seen all of the information before they'll get on the call, and then it's more of a consultation, just asking questions, answering questions, and saying, "Look, Mr. Client, as and when you're ready, just let us know." So I didn't need like a dogged salesman. These aren't cold calls and things like that. So we had this guy, spent about a month with him on Zoom calls and things like that, like training him up, teaching him all this stuff, and we just weren't sure. And we tried quite a few other guys as well, and this guy seemed to be the best one, but it was still a bit iffy. Then bought him over from Spain, and he came over here last week to do a deep dive with the whole team, running through the business, show him everything, do in-person role play, all that kind of stuff, to see if he could really cut the mustard. End of the week was still not massively impressed, and was just like, I don't know, like, are we gonna tie ourselves down here for like 2-3 months of training and like potential disappointment to then, it could be really expensive for anyone out there who's not employed sales staff before, or in that capacity. It can cost you a lot of money because you can waste leads. You can burn loads of time on training. And in that time where you're trying to meet sales capacity and you're upping your marketing spend, you're then not realizing the new volume of leads you need. And it could cost a lot of money really quick. So what I was going to do is speak to some existing clients that we've had, long years and years of rapport with, and get them to do dummy calls with him. Essentially, so he wouldn't know that he was on the call to like a fake client, but it was just so that I could see how he would actually respond in a real life scenario. So I called one of our early clients who became a very good friend of mine, and we've been friends for a long time. And he's still invested in many projects with us. So I called him up and said, "Can you do this for me?" And he was like, "Yeah, sweet, no problem." And then he called me up the next day and went, "Mate, I'm not being funny. I'd love to do this for you." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Mate, I'll come and do it. I want to work with you. Like, I want to be a part of the team." And I was like, "Fuck off. Shut up. That is amazing." So I've just spent this whole month of like burning lots of time, lots of kind of like frustrations. Like, is this going to be right? We're spending lots of time here, all this kind of stuff. And then literally, and Matt said the analogy perfectly. It's like we were test driving a Kia and we walked out with a Rolls Royce. There's a little analogy for you, Jack, that you'll like, little car analogy. And this guy coming straight away within 2 days, dropped him onto some calls because he knows everything already. He's raised tens of millions before, like he knows what he's doing, and he's already closing clients like pretty much instantly. So I'm like, wow, that's like such a good example of what can happen if you hire right. Just have the right person rather than trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. So thought that'd be a good little anecdote. And then one other one was my little brother's finished college, and they've had a mate whilst they've been at that college. And when I first met this friend, this is a kid who's like really outgoing. And bear in mind, kids these days, like there's a lot of introversy and like a lot of timidness around, kids of that sort of age. But this guy's always been larger than life. Stuart, he's like you, but younger and ginger. And he's just able to speak with people. He's a little bit ginger. Sorry, mate. Sorry. Just finished college, have you?
Really off there, mate. You got any dry robes for someone at 6'11", please?
Fucking hell. But this guy, yeah. So
I get a student discount.
So when I first met him, when the boys started college there, and he came around the house, and I was like, "Is this one of your new mates?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I met him, shook hands with him, chatted, and when he left, I said to my little brothers, I was like, "Keep an eye on him because he's gonna be a weapon to have around. Like he'll be a good friend, and one day we'll pitch him on the business and see where he's at." And over time, obviously, I've got to know him and got to know the boys, and he was about to go to uni. I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. He was going to go do law, and I was like, "Mate, just that is going to be such a waste of your potential. Like, do not go and study law." Like, I didn't say that to him, but I heard it and went, no, we need him in the business. So I spoke to the team, spoke to Vicky, and was like, we need to create a role here because we need to bring this guy in on an apprenticeship initially, grow him and nurture him within the business because that is a weapon to in like 2-3 years time. Managed to wing him round very quickly. And he's going to join the business in September 1st and not go to uni. And I think it's going to be great for him. It's a great future for him. So, it's been quite a good week.
I was going to go to Bournemouth Uni to do my architectural degree, and then my cousin's boss at the time was desperate for an architect and said, "Look, don't go to uni. Take a gap year out. Just try it. See if you like the industry, and come and live in my pocket." And that was it. And once you start earning money, you never really go back.
Exactly, mate. Real world experience all day long. If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you go and subscribe to the Ground Up Podcast.